Hey guys, I have an exciting announcement. The Year Is now on Patreon. We got your emails, we got your DMs. They kept saying, when are you going to go on Patreon? When can we get more episodes? The answer is right now. So if you go to www.patreon.com/theyearispod and sign up for as little as £3 a month, you can get a bonus episode every week of The Year Is. And there's lots of other benefits like early release or discounts on tickets, posters. Just go check it out. Sign up now. You won't regret it. Big thanks to our first super genius tier subscriber, Saffron Vandenberg, who I just want to say, without you, this podcast couldn't happen. Thank you very much. Enjoy the episode.
The Year Is with Red and Bobby.
Hey, Redophiles. Welcome back to The Year Is podcast, the podcast where every episode, me, comedian Bobby Mair, and my friend, comedian Red Richardson, travel back to a year in history and talk about the weirdest, the most fucked up, the most interesting things from that year. Red.
Hello.
We're doing this remote again because Red is still terrified of COVID because he doesn't want to be imprisoned in Thailand.
Yeah.
I find remote episodes a bit annoying, so I'm now leaning towards you just coming here, us doing the ep, and then you being imprisoned in a Thai hospital.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you would prefer that, but I can't risk it. I've cancelled this trip 5 times, and I need it.
I really would prefer that, actually, because the story of you suffering in a hospital would be very funny. Especially if you have asymptomatic COVID, you're just slowly going insane.
No. Well, by the time this is out, we'll know, which is it's terrifying, to be honest. I've not been touching anything. Every time I order something, I anti-back my hands at the door. I'm treating it like early 2020. That's where I am.
I mean, this is insane that people are still doing the hand sanitizer thing as if it's going to do anything.
Yeah, it kills the bacteria.
Yeah, but COVID is an airborne virus.
Yeah, but it can live on your hands.
Can it?
Yeah. Of course, you got germs on your hands and you touch stuff.
But it's never on surfaces. Like, if it was on surfaces, we would have all got it in like a week.
It lived on surfaces for 24 hours when it first came out. That's what everyone was saying. 24
then why
hours
doesn't anyone get it from public? No.
Well, they probably do. So if someone coughs and wipes their face and then shakes your hand or sticks their thumb in your ass, they will. Anyway, I can't believe we were talking about COVID in 2022. What a shit show. What an absolute disaster. 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and here we are. I still haven't gone to Thailand, and people have died.
That's all true, right?
It was a bad order that I said that in, but fine. So we had a suggestion this week, didn't we, Bobby?
Yeah.
For a year. Was it 1973? Who was it? Do you know?
It was Kelly.
Kelly. Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly emailed us and said we should go back to 1973. And Kelly, it's not like we were honored by your suggestion. We were more so just too lazy to think of another year.
I was honored by it, and I thank you very much, Kelly, for listening and writing in, because we appreciate it a lot.
Red, stop being such a cock.
And I'm being nice.
That's not how you feel.
It is how I feel. I love everyone who listens to this podcast.
Oh, my God. Red, if you met these people, you wouldn't even respect them.
Oh, my. Well, this is probably our last episode, because you just insulted everyone who tunes in.
I've seen you, though, when you meet people who like your comedy.
I say thank you so much.
And then you leave every time, and you're like, that guy was fucking weird.
I never say that. I never say that.
Right, that's how you are with, and it makes sense. Anyone who really likes you is usually there is like a weird aura about them.
Your number one fan watches child porn for a living.
Not my number one fan. That was a fan
He's
at
come-
one show.
Anyone who hasn't listened to that
Years
episode,
ago.
Bobby has a fan who goes to a lot of his gigs whose job is to watch child porn and rank it at how bad it is. So like grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what he does for a living. Anyway, Bobby, 1973.
Big year, Red. Big year.
What a year. It was a big year. First of all, we have a sporting event. George Foreman defeats Joe Frazier to win the heavyweight world boxing championship. I've watched that fight quite a lot. George Foreman absolutely battered him, was a big underdog. Everyone thought Joe Frazier was going to win because Frazier had beaten Muhammad Ali, was the reigning champion for like 5 years, and got knocked out in 2 rounds by George Foreman.
Isn't George Foreman like a foot taller than Joe Frazier?
He's big, yeah.
I never get that in boxing when someone picks the smaller person. They're
There's-
like, oh, I think the smaller person is going to win. It's like, oh, I think the guy who's 100 pounds heavier is going to win.
Mike Tyson was 5'10".
Yeah, that's why it was a surprise that he was one of the best boxers of all time.
Yeah, but sometimes it works because they can duck under and swing up, and you got better center of gravity and stuff like that. Joe Frazier was like a compact fighter who'd pummel the body and then hit you in the head, and just duck and weave. But Foreman just came in and crushed him. And the famous audio, the commentators going, "Down goes Frazier." It was a huge shock. Big fight, big upset. Did you watch the fight this weekend?
Red, I watched the fight this weekend. Why are you putting on this fake
I'm
broadcasting?
I'm literally
What is
broadcasting.
happening?
You can go, yeah, I did watch the fight this weekend, and then we talk about it. Did you enjoy the fight this weekend?
Red, we texted back and forth the whole fight.
I know, I'm doing this for the listeners.
You could just be yourself.
I am being myself. I'm just filling them in as we talk. You're making this impossible. So, Bobby, the fight this weekend, what did you think? Because now we all know you watched it.
You mean we all know that me and you texted back and forth while the fight was happening?
I bet you James Acaster and A. Gamble don't. They just do broadcasting properly, and that's why they have millions of listeners, and none of them stop each other and call them out
For lying.
It's not like it's called broadcasting anyway. One of us wants to be professional. So what do you think of the fight?
Between Tyson Fury.
Yeah, well, Tommy Fury fought as well.
Well, that
which
fight
is very boring.
I think I have a good shot at being Tommy Fury's next opponent.
Yeah, you could. Most opponents, I think, they pick up hitchhiking on the way to the Wembley.
Yeah. The guy he fought did not look like he had ever boxed before.
His opponents have a combined record of like 120 losses in 1 win. It's like he's not fighting boxers. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't be surprised to see one of them just come in like attached to a drip already.
First of all, how do you say Dylan? Is it Dillian White? Not Dylan, right?
Dillian White, yeah.
Well, that really took me out of it because going into the fight, I thought his name was Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time they said his name, I thought, why are they saying Dillian?
Mm-hmm.
So I did find it harder to enjoy the fight because I was wrestling between the fact that, like, I thought his name was Dylan, but his name was actually Dillian.
Yeah.
And
why didn't you just Google it?
Well,
that would have just take 2 seconds and make the whole thing enjoyable.
I didn't think to do that. I was just trapped in this hell of worrying about what his name was.
Yeah.
Like Dillian. But I'd never have you met a Dillian before?
Never. It's a strange name.
No.
Anthony Joshua calls him Dylan, and it annoys him a lot. But yeah, Fury's entrance on the throne, that was great. I like Dillian White's entrance. He does the Jaws music and walks out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool music for a boxer. But in the end, you just got knocked out in the 6th round.
It is unfair because Tyson Fury is like, so they're like super, what are they, heavyweights? This is the heavyweight division, right?
Heavyweight division, yeah.
When someone's like 6'9", that is kind of like they're in a different division.
Yeah, well, but he can only fight, giants, really.
Yes. I think Tyson Fury is a great boxer, but I would be more impressed if he fought another man who's 6'9".
Well, yeah, where are you going to find that, you know?
Exactly. He's a freak, so there isn't any. But I'm just saying, like, if I go and I fight someone who weighs the same as me, but they're like, oh, everyone I fight is a foot shorter than me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to see him fight another giant.
Yeah, I don't think the size is too integral in it because there's a lot of great small fighters that are just sort of good at mixing it up and getting in. And White's not very. I think White's like 6'3" or something. It's not that much. It did look like quite a bit actually when they squared off in the beginning.
Yeah, it looked like a lot.
But Fury's dad was there. Fury's dad has not been allowed to go to any of his fights for quite a few years because he gouged a man's eye out in a pub in 2011. So he's not welcome in America.
Look, as someone who has gouged some eyes, I don't think us eye gougers should be judged as harshly as society judges us.
Yeah, what do you think that should happen?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you know, in the news, you always read the news stories about, like, people dying because they get, like, somebody punches someone, then accidentally kills them.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a thing, right?
Yeah.
But the idea of punching someone is still less barbaric than gouging someone's eyes out. But as someone who once gouged a man's eyes out, I would like to say that I've never read a news story where someone has accidentally killed someone by gouging out their eyes.
I think using your thumbs to push into someone's eyes, the thing they use to see, is not great. You could just kick him in the balls or something.
Well, but the thing is, nobody expects the thumbs. That's why you use the thumbs.
That's because most people don't think humans would do something like that.
My guy punched me and he just stood there and I thought, I'm going to go for these eyes. They don't really see it coming.
Do you remember the move at school that some crazy kids would do where they'd put their like finger in someone's mouth and like squeeze out the cheek? And it was usually in a headlock situation. It's just a sort of wild thing to do. I remember a few kids at primary school doing that.
Oh, you mean like put inside the cheek and pull the cheek?
Yeah. Fingers in the mouth and then squeeze the cheek out. It was a very unsexy fighting style.
I don't think that's a crazy move. Again, I just think that's...
Of course you don't. You probably did it yesterday to your postman.
No. That's a great fighting move. You fish hook their cheek and you pull it. It's really hard to focus someone trying to rip your cheek open.
Imagine you have fish hook championships.
Yeah, you just got to get in there and tear. The first one to tear the cheek of the other wins.
Yeah, I don't think it wouldn't be as glitzy as boxing, I don't somehow think. But George Foreman went on to, he's got 6 sons, all called George.
I do.
I think he's got like 10 kids in total, and 6 of them are called George. But he went on to lose to Muhammad Ali, obviously, 74, Rumble in the Jungle. And then he sort of had a few more fights and lost to some journeyman and just disappeared for years and came back at 41 and won the heavyweight title.
Yeah, that was insane.
Mental. So he was champion from 73 to 74 and then won the heavyweight championship again in 1994. That is mental.
94.
Yeah. That is so 20 years after he lost it. 45 years old he would have been. That's absolutely crazy.
He must have, like, obviously it was like super popular, but he must have at the time just been like, he was like everybody's dad, you know?
Yeah. Kick-ass dad.
Like, because it's not like he was just a fucking like fat tall dude.
Yeah. Like smash people up. He's made like, I can't remember, it's like 300 million off those grilling machines he does.
I'm kind of sick of athletes getting all this credit.
What, for the grilling machine?
Well, not the grilling machine. It's also not called a grilling machine. It's called a grill. The George Foreman Grill.
It's called the Lean Mean Grilling Machine.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Or the George Foreman Grill. People call it George Foreman Grill.
Yeah, but the Lean Mean Grilling Machine is. I think that might be like the strap line or something.
Agree to disagree. The George Foreman Grill, I think, sounds better than the Lean Mean Grilling Machine.
I can have a quick Google actually. And I will.
Well, this is suspenseful.
Lean Mean Grilling Machine. Yep, George Foreman. Yep, that's what it's called. Anyway, carry on. Celebrities making products. What's your? Why do you not like it?
Wait, so you just stopped me from my point just to be right, but say nothing funny about being right, and then say carry on.
No. What's funny about being right? It's just I just Googled it because you said it was wrong.
You just wanted to say, yep, I'm right, thank you.
Yeah, and then carry on. Why don't you like celebrities making products?
I feel like I'm on stage right now, and there's a heckler saying, carry on, go ahead. It's like I'm not gonna go ahead because you tell me to go ahead.
Okay, well,
I will go ahead in my own time. Okay, I'll go ahead right now. But it has nothing to do with you telling me to go ahead. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I am sick of celebrities' names being put on products and then people acting like that celebrity is a business genius.
Yeah.
Because there's someone who invented that grill, you know?
Yeah.
There's someone who designed a nice, efficient, tiny grill, and they wanted to sell some of this grill. And then they got George Foreman to put his name on it. George Foreman gets credit like he invented a fucking grill. The man has 6 kids named George. I bet he has CTE, and when the cameras stop, he just fucking shakes.
Oh my God. No, I've seen him in interviews. He's good. He's still got it. Charming man.
We always say people got it, but like ex-boxers, all they have to do to seem like really charming is say like 8 words with a smile. And then you're like, wow, he's still got it.
They all do the fist in the picture still, even no matter how old they are. It's just the fist is up in every photo.
Yeah, and then they go home and their ears just start bleeding.
Do you not think that Kylie Jenner makes her own lipstick then?
Yeah, maybe. I'm just so she can test it on animals herself.
50 Cent mixing his own vodka in his bathtub.
Because literally, once you're that famous, it's just people come up to you going like, hey, do you want to put your name on this? And you go, what is it? And then you go, okay, yeah. And then what about this? Yeah. And then you put your name on 10 things. One of them blows up and everyone's like, wow, you're a mogul. You're a business mogul. You turned your 100 million into 200 million. It's like, yeah, well, I turned my 10 into 20. Where's my fucking article?
Well, yeah, the thing is, because a lot of celebrities lose money investing in stuff, but the ones, they just meet the right guy or the wrong guy. You know what I mean? It's like whoever came to Foreman with the grill idea, it worked. But there's a lot of celebrities who've invested in stuff that just hasn't worked.
Every like lame celebrity, every celebrity has their own tequila. Everyone's so excited about tequila.
I know, it's so, like, Kendall Jenner's got her own tequila. It's just like, fuck off.
Even, like, and they're all a lot of them are making a lot of money, but, like, then you hear about, like I think George Clooney has a really successful tequila, but it's just like, who's buying booze for a party and is like, oh, I want to get George Clooney's tequila.
A lot of losers. Conor McGregor's got this whiskey, which is apparently disgusting. I've never tried it, but everyone says it's garbage. But he carries it with him everywhere. And every interview he does, he puts it on the table of the interview and stuff. And he sold like half his share in it for $100 million last year.
He's never going to get punched again, is he? Is he done fighting?
He says he's coming back, but he keeps losing. He just got too much money.
Why would you ever? Once you have $100 million, who wants to be punched in the face?
Who wants to get up at 5 a.m. and like train, and then in fight week you can't eat anything to get down to weight, so you dehydrate your body to the point of near death, and you're literally sat there like, I have a yacht. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, and like the guy you're fighting is you 5 years ago, and you remember how hungry and fucking angry you were then.
Oh, yeah. The guy without the yacht always beats the man with the yacht, you know? Because now the guys he's fighting, like he lost this guy called Poirier, who he beat like 5-6 years ago. Poirier knocked him out, and then Conor McGregor broke his own leg in the second fight. And then their third fight, sorry. But it's like, this guy earns like $100,000 a year, and you've got, which is a lot of money, but once you pay for trainers and everything, it's like he needs this and wants this, and you don't. And so, you know, it's just the chances that you're going to, it's like a house cat getting in a fight with a wild cat.
Yeah. I really, I do find Conor McGregor annoying.
Yeah.
I do really like, I remember, I enjoyed, because I'm not really like a huge UFC fan.
Me neither.
But like, whenever it pops into the news, I like, so anyone who makes it to the mainstream, I'll be aware of. And Ronda, what was her name? Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
She was famous for like 8 months. And because she just had that one move that I think her mom used to do on her when she was a kid, where she'd fucking run up and he'd just put him in the arm bar and then get him like that. And everyone was like, wow, she's going to be a movie star. This lady's a genius. And then the other fighters just figured out how to block her arm bar and beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, she lost twice. It was quite hard to watch. But she's in WWE now, I think, and has got a kid with another fighter. So do you know she used to date Brendan Schaub? And she then split up with him and went out with this other UFC fighter who then fought Brendan Schaub and knocked him out in 30 seconds.
Well, Brendan Schaub is the kind of broadcaster you aspire to be. So
yeah. Have you? I used to live with a guy who had a lean mean grilling machine.
And it was George Foreman Grill, okay.
Wow, I just Googled it. Don't make me do it again. And it was good. It was good for bacon and stuff. So if people like this pod, I don't know if they don't sponsor us, but I'm just saying, if you're thinking about it, maybe do it.
I'm pretty sure George Foreman's name is kind of all the sponsorship they need.
Yeah, they don't need this podcast, do they? Like, he has won the heavyweight championship of the world twice.
That's that is impressive. I really think when they talk about it, you say the heavyweight championship of the world.
Yeah.
It sounds really good, you know?
Yeah.
Like if someone wins in other sports, like if you're a high jumper, you'll just say, "Oh, they won a gold medal at the Olympics for high jumping."
Yeah.
Not nearly as cool. You're just like, "Oh yeah, you're an Olympic high jumper, cool."
Yeah.
But then if you're like, "This guy's the world heavyweight champion," or the heavyweight champion of the world, it sounds so much more impressive. I do think that is one thing boxing is great at, is just letting us like talking themselves up, you know?
Yeah. No, it's a lot of hype.
Well, also, like any fighter that you see, any like professional fighter who we are aware of, who is like near the top of their division, for their first like 20 fights, never fought anyone that could possibly beat them, right?
No.
Like it's all like carefully calculated until they get good enough.
Yeah, they build them up, because if you put them in with someone tough too early, then you're fucked. Do you know the announcer, Michael Buffer? Let's get ready to rumble. That guy.
That guy makes bank, doesn't he?
He makes so much. He makes like $1 million a fight, and he's copyrighted "Let's get ready to rumble" as a phrase. So he's worth like shitloads of money. And his brother, Bruce Buffer, is the announcer for UFC. So great voices those guys have. And a great job. Like 4 times a year, they fly out to Vegas, go on stage for 3 seconds, and go, "Let's get ready to rumble." And you get like £1 million. He doesn't need a podcast.
That's insane.
Yeah.
If I was the person organizing the fight, it would be so satisfying to cut him out.
Why? What did you say? We're not paying you.
Yeah. Hey, you know how you always say, "Let's get ready to rumble"? Yeah. We're not going to do that this time.
Yeah.
We've realized if we don't do it, Nobody fucking cares, and you
we
don't
do.
matter.
We do.
No, you don't though. If I just came out and said, "Hey guys, you ready for the fight?" Would it matter? Really?
Someone be like, "Where the fuck is Bruce Buffer? And what does "Are you ready for the fight" mean?" That's not what they say. They say, "Let's get
Bruce
ready
Buffer
to
is
rumble."
fucking dead.
No, he's not. He's alive.
That's what I'd say. I'd say Bruce is fucking dead, and then Bruce is, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. And I said, Bruce,
I'm not dead.
You're dead to us, Bruce. We don't want to pay for this anymore. You say one sentence, okay? You need to do something else to make your way through life, Bruce. This is sad.
Do you think his wife hates him if they hates both of them if they both just talk like that, especially if they're together at like Christmas? Merry Christmas.
I bet they don't sound like that at all. I bet they're just like, hey, how are you? I'm a normal guy. And then they put the fucking voice on.
No, you go, give me the £1 million and I'll give you the works.
So how old is this man now then?
Michael Buffer is the older one. I think he must be like 80 or something. He's old. He's got the funniest like fake tan in the world. I think he just does sunbeds all year round and then goes and does that, you know?
Well, he lives in Vegas. So he can just do sun.
Yeah, he's 77. He was a car salesman and then he began a modeling career at 32, became a ring announcer at 38. So I might be, doing that at 38.
It's really weird to begin
ready to fight.
It's really weird to begin a modeling career at 32. That sounds that sounds like the actions of I mean, it's worked out for him, but that sounds like the actions of a mentally ill man. Like at 32, if you were going to be a model, someone would have told you by now. But this guy was like, yeah, I'm going to start modeling. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, he's full of confidence though. And they're like, what? You're not even that hot. It's like, no, I think I am actually. I'm going to be a model. 32 years old. It's really funny. He was a salesman before. So listen to this, Bobby. As of 2009, the catchphrase has generated, guess, try and guess.
27 million.
400 million.
How?
In revenue from licensing trademark. So there was a Kraft cheese commercial where it says, let's get ready to rumble. Progressive Insurance, and in which he says, let's get ready to bundle. Popular commercial for Mega Millions, and he says, let's get ready to win big. Sega Genesis have used it. Tomboy Records have used it. Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. Game Boy Advance, greatest hits for Sega Genesis. Like, it's just, no one could go without that brilliant catchphrase.
Did
so
he
he's worth nearly half a billion.
The phrase?
Yes. Well, people have probably said it before, but he just first said it live.
No, he first copyrighted. He was the first one to copyright it.
Of course. I might copyright like "nice to meet you" or just something.
Yeah. I feel like they must have been saying that in like the 1940s before he ever was announcing boxing, and then he was just like, "Oh wait, what if I own this sentence?"
Yeah. No, definitely. It's just he's just a fucking prospector, really. He's a gold rush hustler.
It's incredible.
It'd be funny to copyright something like "Don't hit me." So anytime someone was being attacked, they owed you 100 quid for saying your catchphrase.
Yeah. I'm gonna coin the phrase fire, the word fire. So anyone who ever shouts fire, I'm like, listen, if you yell about fire, you owe me money. Now, how much do you owe me?
And now everyone could just say, orange hot thing.
Orange hot thing. Yeah, it's like, because the song, you know about Happy Birthday, right?
Yeah, it's copyrighted, isn't it?
Yeah, so like that's why in movies sometimes like they'd sing a weird version of Happy Birthday because they could not afford, like, it was like 10 grand to sing Happy Birthday in something.
Yeah.
But now the copyright's over and we can all sing it. We can all sing Happy Birthday.
That's good.
But like, at least that person wrote the song Happy Birthday. I'm not even saying it's a good song. It's probably one of the most annoying songs of all time.
I hate it. When you're in a restaurant and people sing it for you, I don't know why I get so embarrassed, but I know that other people join in and I don't find it nice for some reason.
Like if they're singing to you, You don't like it if they're singing,
Yeah.
or other people?
No, for me, I just find it really makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, I want to be incognito tonight.
I don't mind. I like it when everyone sings to me. I appreciate the attention, really. I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
Mm.
I like a lot. I love it if someone threw me a surprise party and then there was like someone in my life I had forgotten about at the party, like from so long ago. Like they're not even in my mind anymore, and I don't care if they're alive or dead. Like that's how little I think about them. But then I found out at my party they've been thinking about me so much. They've traveled across the ocean to come to my birthday party.
Has that happened before?
That would be great. It's just nice to know you've left an impact on people.
Well, for your next birthday, we'll try and track someone from Canada down and get them to sail over.
Oh, no, it'll be the worst person I know.
That's
Anybody
exactly
that
what I
would-
want to do.
Anyone who would do that. Anyone who's
He's
like,
staying
oh,
for
I'll
2
come
weeks.
for Bobby's birthday. You're like, oh, God. Some psychopath. There's a reason we stopped talking. I hate you.
Just kick them out. So 1973,
Yeah.
The Godfather wins Best Picture.
Great movie.
It's a brilliant film. Brilliant film. Have you seen, so you know the guy in it, Kylie plays Connie's husband who sets up Sonny for the shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he's now got a YouTube channel and a podcast. And he's like the world's biggest liar. So he claims to have done literally everything. He says he hung out with Escobar. Apparently he shagged Marilyn Monroe. He was involved in the Kennedy assassination, but can't say anymore. What's he called? He's called like, fucking hell, I can't remember what he's called. But yeah, he's got this like a Michael Buffer tan, even worse, and like sort of dyed blonde hair, but he's about 80. And he's just this massive, massive liar. It's worth checking out on YouTube. Like he was literally, he's like Forrest Gump. He was everywhere.
What if it's
he's been
true?
involved in everything. I just don't know. Like I'll send you a picture of him, and you just go, I just don't believe a word that comes out of your mouth. Gianni Russo, he's called, but he's sort of he's infamous online because everyone in the YouTube comments, everyone just writes like Carlo was there at the moon landing and sort of mocks him a bit, you know. But he did actually kill someone in real life. He shot a man outside a casino in Vegas in the 80s.
He should have just, I'm just saying, if you're angry at someone, there's a better way. You thumb their eyes.
Less
can get
jail time.
Get your anger out, but no need to kill.
I think thumbing the eyes is scarier than shooting someone. It sort of says a lot about a person.
Yeah, it says you're someone who wants to blind a man, but not someone necessarily that wants to kill.
To me, it says you would kill, but you just didn't happen to have a weapon at that point.
Well, I did have a weapon, my thumbs. My thumbs are a deadly weapon. What? So this guy, who did he kill?
Some guy in an argument outside a casino. I think the guy was trying to kill him and he shot him.
Did he go to prison?
I think he did for a bit, but he got away on self-defense. Yeah, Gianni Russo, brilliant YouTube channel. He's been everywhere and done everything. Yeah, it's quite funny. But no, it's great. I actually watched The Godfather the other day, about 3 weeks ago. It stands up. It really does. It's a great, great film.
It's incredible. Godfather 1's great. Godfather 2, maybe better. Everyone talks about Godfather 3 sucking.
It does.
And then there was... No, but they say, like, Sofia Coppola gets blamed all the time because her performance, I guess, is subpar. But what they always ignore is that Al Pacino in Godfather 3 is playing an entirely different man to the character he plays in 1 and 2.
Really
Like, not even like, he's, this man has aged. In the first and second movie, it is a quiet, thoughtful man,
cold, calculated,
thrust to the top of a crime family, and yeah, he's like he'll do whatever it takes, but he's calm and thoughtful. And then in Godfather 3, it's just like that character he played in Scent of a Woman who is just like, hooah, hooah. And it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. Well,
And,
from the early 80s onwards, that was his only acting technique for about 30 years.
Yeah, because he was just blasting. He loved the coke. So he's doing a bunch of coke, saying hooah. And it was fucking garbage. And nobody, Sofia Coppola got all the shit. And it's like, no. Al Pacino is a big part of the reason that movie sucks.
Andy Garcia as well. No, it's weird. He went so off the rails as an actor.
But it's not that hard to play. You've already played the character twice. Just watch the movie and do an impression of yourself.
Yeah,
like it's a pretty simple. You don't have to even feel it. Just be a calmer version of you, Al.
Yeah. Have you seen when he does the Cockney accent? It's called the local stigmatic. And it's I don't know how, like, it's a low budget film. And the guy was obviously like, fuck, we got Al Pacino. This is so good. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do the Cockney accent. He's like, okay, well, it's Al Pacino. I'm sure he can. And then he turns up. He's just like, hello, geezer. How you doing today? It's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's on YouTube, the local stigmatic Al Pacino speech. It's so embarrassing. He plays a guy who like bets on the dogs in East London. He's like, just going down to fair to bet on the dogs. But the director must have just heard it and gone, but he's not, it's Al Pacino. So you have to just sit there while your film is ruined by one of the best actors of all time.
It's a real conundrum because Al Pacino is a great actor, or at least at one point was a great actor.
Yeah.
And you're some no-name director making a probably shitty movie.
Yeah.
And you want to come because Al Pacino is in your presence. And then he starts acting. There's no way to fix it, though, because American people just can't do British accents, you know? Like, that's what it comes down to.
And, like, he must have left home that day so happy with his wife being like, oh, my God, it's great. And he's like, have a great first day, honey. And comes back at, like, 11 at night in tears. You don't know what he's doing.
I would just be like,
all right, geezer.
Well, my movie might not be seen by many people, but this scene will be seen by a lot of people.
I think it's got like 4 million views on YouTube. But how can you be a good actor and then do that so badly, you know?
Well, it's just, you just make a choice is what they say in acting, right? So he just makes he made his choice and it didn't work out for him in this.
When you're that big, I bet he had a Cockney cab driver who he thought he was mimicking perfectly. And the guy's just like, fucking sound nothing like me.
Yeah. Well, if I was that cab driver and Al Pacino is trying to like learn my accent, I just tell him he's doing great, but just so I got a good tip, you know. That's the problem with that level of fame is no one's ever going to be honest with you again.
At all, not at all. I wouldn't be able to. I don't know what I'd do. I just probably go along with it and go, maybe in post we can like dub him.
Yeah, dub someone else's voice into Al Pacino's mouth.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah, it was very good. But you know, the Godfather and the mob were all over it, like the actual filming. So they got the script and banned any reference to the word mafia from the script and stuff like that.
Why is that?
Because they didn't want them being sort of, it's bad publicity. So they didn't want, they're still sort of trying to be a secret society, so they can't have this film where it's like they're saying mafia all the time. So they went and got involved and made sure that no one said, they okayed the script before they allowed filming to start, because they're filming in New York as well. And so the mob could just shut you down if they wanted to. They run all the unions and stuff like that.
But I don't think that their intention of keeping the mob kind of like on the DL really worked out for them. No,
I think everyone knew what was going on, because now just na 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 just means mafia, doesn't it?
yeah. Like just because you don't use the word mafia doesn't mean we don't know what the mafia is.
It's like making Jaws and going, right, you can make this film on the condition that no one says shark at any point.
Yeah. We don't want to hurt the shark community. They're secretive people, the sharks. We'll
Brilliant
call them
film, though.
The angry fish.
Yeah, bluefin.
I got bit by an angry fish. Wait, what's an angry fish? It's a shark. We just don't say shark.
It's funny, have you seen now they have to call it shark encounter instead of shark attack?
Yeah, well,
I don't think if I got my leg bitten off, I'd be using the right vernacular,
Well, I mean, encounter is usually reserved for sexual.
Yeah, or just meeting someone when you walk into the shops.
No, but like I had an encounter with a lady. Like I think of it as a sexual term. Like if I imagine a shark encounter being something quite sensual,
Yeah, just the shark sort of rubs up alongside you.
Yeah, and I just
Puts his fin up your bum.
Find the nearest hole and have a nice party with a shark. Hey, this shark's like 100 years old. It must know something about how to get by in life and make other people happy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, dolphins assault people, don't they?
I think they like to hump. Yeah, they're.
Is that true? I don't know if that's a rumor, but there's like I've just heard that dolphins are kind of Me Too like.
I think a dolphin will fuck you. It likes to fuck.
Well, that's terrible because kids go and swim with them at SeaWorld.
Well, you know what? Sometimes your kid pets a dolphin. Sometimes your kid gets dolphin cum all over their hand. It just depends on the day.
1 minute you're throwing an American football and it's catching it. The next minute it's bumming you in the shallow end.
Yeah, I think you gotta be careful with those dolphins.
Yeah, of course.
I would like to pet a dolphin sometime. Have you ever pet dolphins?
No, I've seen them though. I've never petted
one.
Well,
we've all seen a dolphin.
Some people haven't. I bet you Jody hasn't.
You mean like in person?
Yeah.
No, I think Jody was probably taken by some kind of charity to see dolphins as a kid.
He's on mute, so he can't answer back.
No. When I was living in Australia, my family came out to visit me in Perth, and we went out to go swim with the dolphins. And we were about to get in the water, and then my sister Saffron, who was at that time 8 years old, just pointed out and go, "Look, shark!" And there was sharks just like nearby that nobody else had seen. That she pointed out, they were like, "Okay,
great white."
I don't think we minded what kind of shark it was. It was just a shark at that point.
We'll just say great white for the story. It's better.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was actually. Now I think about
it. So there you hear, listeners. Jody nearly got eaten by a great white shark.
Thank you. Jody, that is insane.
I wouldn't get in the water in Australia. No chance.
I went. When I was in Australia, there was just these huge waves and people were just getting washed like into the fucking sea. And then they were like, there's lifeguards everywhere. And I was just there alone. And I was like, if I go into the water and I get in trouble, no one even knows I'm here. It'll take them like 3 days to figure out I'm in the ocean. And then a week later, my bloated corpse will just get fucking shot onto the beach. They'll
just find your head. A fisherman will just find your face and go, wait, this is the guy from Killer Camp. Yeah, not for me. A British guy recently got eaten by a shark in Australia. And they always go, oh, it's so rare, it never happens. And I Google great white shark attack almost weekly, and it always happens. It's always going on. There's this place called Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean where most of the beaches you're not actually allowed in the water because so many people get eaten by sharks. There's been like 22 people, but in the last 10 years, and the population of the island's like tiny.
Well, the sharks are just probably really hungry because we're eliminating their food sources.
I think that's it. Also, they stopped. You're not allowed. Made it illegal to hunt sharks. So
to what?
They made it illegal in like 20 years ago to hunt sharks. So there's a surplus of sharks, bulls and tigers.
Well, I don't know if it's that there's a surplus. There's a surplus of people.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Yeah.
There's too many fucking people, and they're everywhere, and we just think of the planet as entirely our own. And then an animal lives somewhere. We're like, oh, this animal is in my place, and it's like, maybe, like, I really hope in 100 years that half of the Earth is just not people.
Well, I think Putin's trying to make that happen for you, Bobby.
Yeah, well, there's too many of us.
Bobby, your beard looks amazing. Yeah,
Thank you.
What have you been doing to it?
I trimmed it with a trimmer from manscaped.com, our new sponsors.
Oh, really? Oh, it looks great. Yeah, Manscaped is fantastic. I use them myself, actually. And they proudly sponsor this podcast, but they are independently of themselves amazing.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, my wife wants to have sexual relations with me more often because of Manscaped.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. So what you're saying is if you use Manscaped, you'll get more sex.
Well, yeah, if you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code YEARIS, not only will you get more sex, but you will get a discount of 20% with that promo code and free shipping. So you will get more sex because of how hot you look, because Manscaped gives you products to make all your grooming better. You know sometimes
easier.
you just have weird nipple hairs or a stray pube. No longer with Manscaped.
Yeah. Say goodbye to shaving rash as well. You won't be walking around with red dots all over your neck because the beard trimmer is super smooth. And they do bull deodorant, which I've never heard of before, but it's a great idea because some people's nuts stink.
Yeah, so what you really need to do is use the promo code YEARIS at manscaped.com and help this podcast. Okay.
Thank you very much.
In 1973, O.J. Simpson of the Buffalo Bills, as we all know OJ, we all know O.J. Simpson.
Which OJ?
Of the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, that OJ. Okay, yeah.
Became the first running back to rush for 2,000 yards in a professional football season.
What an achievement. They cannot take that away from him. No matter what happened after, he still ran 2,000 yards and became the first man to do it.
That is, he did do that.
It's I watched the documentary about him on the BBC, and they go through his whole life up until the bit where he may or may not have killed his wife and Ron Goldman. But if he'd have died in 1990, it would have been such a tragedy.
Yeah, it would have.
He was a great athlete in great comedy films. Really nice face as well. He's got a really kind face.
Very rarely do people cross over from like being athletes to movie stars.
And then to murderers.
Yeah,
that's even rarer. He might be the first man in history to be a sports star, movie star, then murderer. Double murderer.
Well, Oscar Pistorius went from sports star to murderer.
Missed the movie bit.
He didn't have any time. He didn't give himself enough time. If he would have if he would have waited 10 more years, he would have been in a movie or two for sure.
I think OJ should get his team to contact Wikipedia and say, I just read that you're missing something. You're missing a key. Yeah, I was the first guy to run 2,000 yards in an American football match, but also I'm the first man to go from sports to movies to murder in history.
And now I'm trying to think, is he the first,
He must be. I can't think of anyone else. But you watch the doc and it's literally like David Beckham brutally murdering two people. Like he was such a liked guy.
It was a big story, like the biggest story ever at that point. Because it was the first one where they just covered every second of it on the news.
It was huge. They followed his Bronco. It was all televised.
That was great. He was on the run in a Bronco.
Innocent man on the run.
That must have really hurt the Bronco brand, you know? Like, I feel like their sales plummeted.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a reverse. I always remember watching that and going, that looks like quite a nice 4x4, you know? If I was to get away from something, I'd want that. A lot of leg room, big tank so you can drive for ages. Yeah, it's his Twitter is amazing. Did you see his video about Chris Rock and Will Smith?
Tell me everything.
He's literally like talking about Will Smith and going, look, people have made jokes about me in the past, and sometimes it winds me up a little bit. But you should never react with violence. He's mental. He also said that everywhere he goes, he looks at everyone and is terrified that they're the killer of his wife.
Well, you'd have to say that. He has to say that. His kids still believe he's not, so he has to really go with, I didn't kill your mom.
Yeah, also he doesn't want to go to jail. He plays a lot of golf, Bobby.
It really does bring up a difficult hypothetical for me, which is, would I golf with O.J. Simpson? Because I love golfing. Yeah. I'm interested in, like, people who are, like, he's what, like 62 now?
Yeah, probably.
So he's older, but he's still like a professional athlete, you know? Like his hand-eye coordination, everything about the guy is above everyone else.
Well, he was brilliant, and he probably brilliant because he hasn't had much to do since about 1994, you know?
Yeah, he did go to jail for a while because he stole those jerseys that were his own or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I supported him with that. I think he got away with the wrong thing. He should have gotten away with that.
Well, he was clearly being punished for the murders. They were like, listen, we didn't get you on the murders, but you've committed some kind of crime here. We don't even know exactly what it is, but we're going to put you in prison for 1,000 years for this one.
Yeah. You, I'd say you probably should play golf with him. But judging by his Twitter, which is always a great indication of someone's real life morality. He seems like a changed man. He's very positive. He's probably one of the most positive people on Twitter. Everyone's arguing, and OJ's just spreading love. It's ridiculous.
The thing is, when you golf clubs are real weapons, you know? Like, they really, it'd be quite easy for OJ to just beat me to death with his hands. I feel like he's a lot stronger than I am, even in his older age. But when you bring in golf clubs, it is just like I feel like you're just standing beside a building that could explode at any time, especially now that he's quite positive. Like, the thing I trust the least is angry people who act happy. Like, that terrifies me.
That's more scary than anything.
Because, you know, underneath the surface, they're like, I want to fucking kill somebody. And they're just like comics. You know what I mean? Like, there's always comedians who on stage are like the smiliest, like, hi, I'm just an innocent, happy guy and I like fun. And their acts are always really clean and they do like kids' birthday parties. And you know,
so I'm trying to have the sex, but... You know, it's like that. And it's like, I know you get like 7 prostitutes a night in Edinburgh. Shut up. You have a BDSM fetish.
Yeah. Those guys always have the darkest undertones. So it kind of concerns me more now that he's really happy that he could explode at any minute.
Well, he'd kill you so positively. He would squeeze the negative energy out of your body via your neck.
He really would.
Yeah, so different year, 73 for OJ. It really was. Huge inspiration. And he still gets his pension, doesn't he?
Well,
from the NFL.
Because of the legal loopholes, it's a pension, so they can't take that away from him. So he's still living on 6 figures a year for the rest of his life.
So he just plays golf and makes inspirational Twitter videos. The world is insane, isn't it? Just everything that's happened. The modern life, there's a double murderer making sort of goodwill messages and putting on Twitter and commenting on celebrity slap fights.
Well, also, because he was convicted in a civil court, you know, I think it was Goldman family.
Yeah. 25 mil.
25 mil, but since he only has his pension, he can't pay. They can't take his pension, so he can't pay it back.
He hasn't paid a penny. He wrote that book, If I Had Have Done It, or whatever it was called. Everything he's done from the start suggests he's guilty. Like his glove with the blood on it, their blood on the inside of his white Bronco. Then he did the usual, when your wife dies, you flee down the wrong side of the fucking highway with a gun in your mouth. Which is exactly what innocent men do.
Yeah, but I think he probably would be pretty good at golf.
No, 100% he's good at golf. That's all he does.
I want to know what his handicap is. I bet he really focuses on it. The way he focused on football, the way he focused on murder. I feel like he,
and comedy acting. Let's not forget that.
He was a good comedy actor. Imagine explaining the book to your kid. Your kid's already in the back of their minds. They know.
Yeah.
But they push that down so that they can still have a dad that they love. So they're just like, okay, yes, you're innocent. You did not kill mom. Okay. And they manage to believe that it's difficult, but they believe it. Mm-hmm. And then dad writes a book saying, if I killed your mom, here's how I killed your mom.
And then he was doing an interview, and he invited the interviewer up to his room with her camera crew, and he opened the door with a banana and pretended to stab her about 10 times, which is a good joke. I used to watch Police Academy and all the other ones that he was in, in 96 as a kid when I was 8. It's just a different world, wasn't it? Now it's no one deplatformed OJ. It was you can't work anymore, but your stuff's pretty good, so we're still going to watch it.
I've said this before, but that is what's insane about Twitter, is that if you say something racist on Twitter, they're like, hey, you can't be on Twitter anymore. And I don't know, I get why, of course, but then if you murder a couple people and then sign up to Twitter, they're like, hey, as long as you don't say anything on Twitter that we don't like, you can stay.
Yeah.
And if in your spare time when you're not on Twitter, you brutally murder people, we're also okay with that.
Yeah. You can just keep it on it. No, it's crazy.
So I've decided I would golf with OJ, but at the end of the round, I get in my car, and as I was driving away, I'd yell out the window, I really think you did it!
And then you just see him running at you.
Oh, that would be
the juice at full pelt.
That would be a bad time to find out that OJ can still run faster than I can drive.
Of course he can. He just comes and smashes through your window.
Because at a golf course, the roads are, it's like a 5 mile an hour limit. And if there's one thing I hate even more than being brutally beaten to death by an obvious murderer, it's speeding. So I wouldn't speed. I would go the speed limit and just hope.
You don't want a ticket.
No,
it'd be funny if when he ripped you out of his car, he says, you know what, you're right, I did fucking do it. But and then just proceeded to pummel you to death.
Yeah, it'd be like the end of There Will Be Blood.
And I get the feeling he's at an expensive golf clubs, and I get the feeling people who go to expensive golf clubs probably back each other when they kill someone.
Yeah, but with OJ, I feel like everyone would be like, yeah. I bet they're looking for an excuse to get rid of him.
And they go, that's enough, buddy. We're just so unsettling. Every time you're having a piss and he walks in behind you, hey, happy people. And you're like, oh, God.
He must be. What's weird is he must be a member at a golf course. And
of course he is.
If you're a member, become a member at a really nice golf course is really hard because you need members at the course to vouch for you. You need to play with a lot of people who've been in this. It's like joining a club, and you need the club to want you. And I have no idea how he convinced a group of old white people to want him.
Yeah. Yeah, they go, my mate wants to join. He's called O.J. Simpson.
Maybe, what's his first name? I'm going to guess it's like Orlando or something,
Yeah, what is it? He's got a weird first... Oh, it's I can't remember what it is. He's got a funny first name.
I'll check.
Yeah, they would have used that one for sure.
His first name is Orenthal.
Yeah.
I have a friend who'd love to join, who'd love to be a member here. I know this is quite an exclusive course, and we usually only have the most upstanding citizens as members. What's his name? Orenthal. Oh, Orenthal. Okay, yeah. That's an ethnic, and we've been looking for more, not white members, actually, trying to bring ourselves into 2022. We're letting women in now, and we'd love Orenthal to join. What's his last name? Simpson. Oh, okay. Orenthal. Have I heard that before? Yeah, he's O.J. Simpson.
Or you just wouldn't tell him till he's joined, and then OJ literally turns up. Because Orenthal Simpson sounds to me like a sort of deep south posh guy, like plantation owner.
He's actually 74 now, and you think about it, the murders happened in what year was
94.
that? 94.
It was 94.
That means that was 28 years ago, which means a third of his life he's lived as a murderer. So it was the first third of his life was a kid. Second third of his life, football and being famous. And then third, disgraced murderer.
Well, and Twitter influencer as well. I don't think you shouldn't forget that. Yeah, I think he doesn't get enough credit that he's not done it again.
Well, I don't know if you should really
Most
pat him on the back.
psychopaths can't just do it once, Usually there's a couple more.
Yeah, I don't know if he really needs a pat on the back for that one.
No, I suppose he doesn't. Right, well, Bobby would play golf with O.J. Simpson. Glad we got that uncovered, whatever. So 1973, U.S. President Richard Nixon announced that peace has been reached in Vietnam.
I really think that's a liberal use of the word peace.
Yeah, I think it's me losing and saying I've made peace with,
After 13 years of brutal murder and rape and just destruction of a population while the North and South kill each other and the Americans back the South, and it's just horrific for everybody to be guys, we're at peace now. And it's okay, just I think not at war is fine, but the word peace, I think you can call it peace after a couple years.
Yeah, they it was I think what happened is they basically just couldn't win, and so they went, we're going to make peace. So it tried to kind of look like, which hopefully is what Putin does, he's obviously got to keep his fucking pride, but with Vietnam, it was years of just casualties on American soldiers. I read about this tiger that attacked a load of American soldiers in the night. And is there any way of thinking any other more of a sign of we shouldn't be here than a tiger attacking your troops in the middle of the night,
Yeah, I mean, there would have been a war anyways, but it would have been really quick. And the North would have just taken the South, I think, and then it would have became a communist country like it is today.
Yeah.
That seems like they had the guns and the will to fight.
But they were fighting, the Americans were fighting on terrain that they weren't used to. There was snakes, mosquitoes, disease. The Vietnamese left loads of traps as well. They'd put bamboo over holes with spikes at the bottom. Have you seen that?
That would not be
you
fun.
Step on it. Yeah, you step on it and spike through your foot, and then you left to scream until a tiger comes and eats you, probably. Not good if you're an 18-year-old boy from Texas who's never left America before.
Who's been drafted. And they're drafted.
Forced. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't have a choice at all.
Not one bit. It's terrible. I just not only are you scared of, the Vietnamese army, but you also, you've got to deal with all these animals. Like quite a few of them got attacked by tigers. Then fragging started happening. Do you know about that?
No.
Fragging is when you kill a soldier on your own army, usually higher up, usually a chief or a commander. So they got so disillusioned with the wars that American soldiers started putting grenades in their commanders' tents when they were asleep and killing their own people. It was a huge problem. And they were all high on drugs as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of heroin addiction.
Loads of them had got STIs from prostitutes and stuff. It was a shit show.
What was interesting was it taught people, they learned about addiction from that though, because a lot of the people were heroin addicts in Vietnam, the soldiers, when they came back, they weren't addicted to heroin anymore because it was just a circumstantial thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like there's a kind of an idea that like if you're an alcoholic, well, you're an alcoholic forever. But it's like, well, no, sometimes people are just in a terrible situation and they need something to feel good.
Yeah.
And heroin's going to do that.
I'd do heroin if I was getting hunted by tigers and men with guns who know the area way better than me.
Yeah, there's not going to be any natural stimuli that makes you feel great.
No, there was a huge rate of suicides as well from American soldiers. I think in 1971 it was that more Americans died from suicide than by the actual Vietnamese. It must have been weird just coming back from that, and you are a heroin addict who just watch all your mates die, and you got to go cold turkey off it. And then, I'm sure people still kept at it.
And then for the next 40 years, there's just a stereotype that you're all crazy.
Yeah, of course.
And
so
you're
I fought in Vietnam.
And people mock you and hate you. They hate you for going when it's like, well, you didn't have a fucking choice. It's like, it was all these like white people hating the fucking, and so they hate you for going. And then you're mocked publicly, you become kind of a 90s now you'd be a meme. They're just a meme, and people always say oh, he's a Vietnam vet, and it's you just become a punchline.
Yeah, because then the war wasn't won, so people sort of it's not ideal. Trump faked a basketball injury or something to not go to Vietnam, which is funny because he acts like such a fucking Captain Big Dick about everything. But he said he had a bad ankle, so couldn't go. And then he's like, remember he's mocking John McCain because he's like, he's not a war hero. War heroes don't get caught. It's like, you didn't even go.
Listen, if he runs again, it's going to be bananas. But I think
he's played golf with O.J. Simpson. I can guarantee you at some point. Yeah, he might win. Biden doesn't seem to know where he is. I saw that video the other day when he starts shaking the air, looking for people's hands. But it's like anyone but Trump is basically the thing. They're just like, look, this man he doesn't know where he is. We can stand him up and talk to him through an earpiece and he'll repeat what we're saying. But this is better than Trump.
He was the candidate they needed at that time. In no other point in history would he have won any election.
No.
In that state. 20 years ago, he was a pretty charismatic guy. And but now, he wouldn't have won in any other time. But he was so boring. And he had this sad story of his wife dying and his, kid dying. And he had that kind of American dream. There was something about him that
and he'd been with Obama for years.
Yeah, but as the actual leader, you're just but I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens now.
Yeah. Well, Trump picked the right time himself because of Hillary. He was like, she's so loathed. I can win this.
Yeah.
And that was, because he was talking about running since 1989 or something, but he knew he couldn't beat the people until Hillary. which, he turned out to be right. So, on July 17th, 1973, King Mohammed Zahir Shah of Afghanistan is deposed by his cousin Mohammed Daoud Khan while in Italy undergoing eye surgery. So this guy's the king. He goes to Italy for eye surgery. He didn't fancy getting it done in Afghanistan.
I mean, I get that.
I'm not sure what the opticians were like back then. But no, he has to get his eye done. So he goes to Italy, and while he's in Italy, his cousin just overthrows him. But it's like, I was looking into it, and so basically he was just in exile in Rome, and apparently he still got money, and so he bought a villa in like this exclusive upmarket area and just played chess in his garden. And his cousin got murdered by Islamic rebels 5 years later in 1978. It's like, I think you had the right. That was better for you, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe he was like, oh yeah, if you really want this job, you can have it. Yeah,
well, no, he was actually annoyed. He tried to order coups when he wasn't playing chess in his garden. He was also a big golfer. But, if someone said to me, would you rather be king of Afghanistan in 1973 or live in a mansion in Rome? I'd take Rome any day of the week. And look what happened to his cousin, poisoned chalice, 5 years later murdered. Anyway, though, so he was exiled from Afghanistan until 2002, when at the age of 87 and 4 months after the end of Taliban rule, Zahir Shah returned to Afghanistan, flown in on an Italian military plane, and was welcomed at Kabul airport. And then he was known from then on as the father of Afghanistan, which is kind of like, we're going to give you a title, you're not in charge, but father of the nation he was called, but you're not the king, but you'll get a nice title. And he died in 2007 at the age of 88. Not a bad run.
He died thinking, we have defeated the Taliban.
Yeah. Well, he also, in 1991, someone tried to stab him in Rome. An assassin pretending to be like a waiter or something went up to him and tried to stab him. But luckily,
maybe he was also a waiter. You can be an assassin and a waiter. You could do both.
Maybe it wasn't an assassin. Maybe it was just a really angry waiter who was sick of his bullshit because he came in every 40 years and goes, I used to be king, and treated all the staff like shit. But he was a progressive. Like, he wanted Afghanistan to be like more westernized in terms of like women's rights and stuff like that. So
that's never going to go well.
No, his cousin wasn't up for it at all. But just stay in Rome, you fucking idiot.
I think his cousin is a betrayer. Mm-hmm. And as this is the last segment we're going to do on this episode, I would say his cousin is even Dick of the Year.
I would as well, because there was a few, like OJ in 73 wasn't Dick. He was Hero of the Year back then. So I think it's definitely the cousin. So Mohammed Daoud Khan, you were brutally murdered, but you'd been a very naughty boy, and that's why you're Dick of the Year.
Yeah. Well, I bet his family didn't know he was going to be brought up and dragged through the mud again.
This is what's funny, is when he was doing it, he didn't realize that on the Year Is podcast, he would be punished heavily for his actions. Maybe he would have reconsidered had he listened to this somehow, known that he'd be on this podcast. He might not have done it.
Well, he's dead, and he's a dick.
Well, that's been another episode of The Year Is. Thank you so much. If you want more content this week, sign up to our Patreon. We want to thank everyone who's already signed up and thank our super genius sponsors, Bobby.
There's only 3 of you, but we really appreciate you. So thank you, Saffron Vandenberg, Matthew McGrath, and my good friend Christopher. We very much appreciate you. And we appreciate all the other Patreons and all the other tiers who pay a reasonable amount. The people who've decided to pay £25 a month. You're insane, but we love you.
Most super geniuses are insane.
That's true. So, if you are enjoying these episodes, great. If you can afford it and want another episode, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon for £3 a month. Like we said at the beginning, you can get an extra episode every week. And if you can't, that's fine too. Just, tell people about this show and keep enjoying it. And review it, subscribe. That's very important. All right. Thank you. And see you next week.
Thank you so much. Bye. That was another episode of The Year Is. Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. Leave us a review. It all helps. I'd like to thank our producer, Jody. And also I'd like to thank Josh Weller for our intro music and song. It's very catchy. It's very nice. I'm sure you will enjoy it at the beginning. So big thanks for Josh Weller. He's on Instagram at Josh Weller. Josh Weller. Follow him and keep spreading the word of The Year Is. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.